Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game on the market. You can pick from multiple sport platforms, NBA, NFL, or the MLB. And get this, sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Download the app for free at the Google Play Store or the App Store. I know y'all been waiting on this episode, especially after what took place
Yes, yes, yes.
in Tampa. In case you're under a rock, the Falcons lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 21-15 this past Sunday, and that was after trailing 21-0 to start the fourth quarter. The Falcons made an effort to come back, but were stopped short after a rough and passer penalty that was called on Grady Jarrett on third down, what was dubbed to be the worst roughing the passer penalty in history. Did I
I,
cover it?
it was rough, but then
And following
the
day,
next night, I don't know if that was, I don't know which one was worse.
yeah.
You got a strip sack from the guy from Kansas City,
Hmm.
and then he braced himself with his left arm so he wouldn't fall on the quarterback. But the Grady Jarrett thing was this, a lot of people. I'm gonna put it this way. I'm gonna go a couple of directions with this.
Hmm.
A lot of people blaming Tom Brady for the penalty. And I'm going, how can you blame Tom Brady? He didn't make the call. The referee made the call. Okay, they soft on Tom Brady. Okay, is that Tom Brady's fault? No, that's the league and the officiating league fault for allowing these things to happen in favor for Tom Brady. When you're the greatest, one of the greatest of all times, sometimes you get a little favoritism to your side, i.e., Michael Jordan,
Jordan.
i.e., LeBron James, those type of situations. And if you're fans of these guys, it doesn't bother you. But when you're not fan of these guys, it really irritates you. Now, speaking of this game, um, we've heard a lot about that sack,
Hmm.
and talking about that sack kind of masked the fact that we was inept for 3 quarters.
Correct.
We was like zombie-ish in the pass game.
Hmm.
We ran the ball decently. We got our yards, 150 yards plus. That's what you want to be at as an NFL team in a game.
Hmm.
But to win football games against a high level team, you have to be able to throw the ball effectively. And when I say effectively, I'm talking about in a 60% clip with at least 2 or 3 big plays. Big plays is 20 yards plus.
Hmm.
Those type of big plays in a game to beat teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here it is. I hear things like we were robbed or it was taken away from us, this and that. It wasn't like we were up 21-15 and then they scored and won. Yeah, we had the momentum on our side, and I get it. If we get the ball back, maybe we score and win the football game. But we can't foreshadow and say that would have happened.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we were denied the chance to see if it was happening. So here and here's what happened Monday in those meetings. Guys, we let one get away from us. We didn't play well for 3 quarters. We fought hard in the fourth quarter. We had a chance to maybe win this football game. But we have to play better and get ourselves. We got to make sure we don't put ourselves in this type of situation each week. We got to play all 4 quarters. We can't decide to want to play in the fourth quarter and come back. That's including me as a coach and play calling. That's including the defense in play calling. That's including special teams coordinator in calling. And it's on you too to play at the level or beyond the level of your opponents so we won't be in this situation every time. And then I hear, people says, well, will they learn anything from this? It depends. It could go, this is one of those situations that can go one way or the other. When I say a situation that can go one way or the other, when it happens again in the fourth quarter and you have to make a play to win or have to make a play to get the ball back,
Mhm.
one or two things can happen. You can say, "Oh, here we go again. Doggone it." Or you can go, "Hey, give it to me. Give me the ball. Put us in a situation. We're gonna make a play. I'm gonna make a play, and we're gonna win this game." It can go either way. But I guarantee you this: there's a few guys on that sideline when that situation happens, gonna look at each other and go, "Here we go again."
Mhm.
That's that energy that you don't want, and you can get rid of that energy by practicing that in practice. You can say, "Okay, guys, 48 seconds left. We got to go 60 yards, no timeouts for a touchdown to win." You can practice those type of situations. And then guys on the sideline, they get up and say, "Hey, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go." And you can, and it becomes a habit. You can't in practice simulate it and say, "Well, last time we was in this situation, this happened and this happened," because now you're going back and saying, "Well, I was a failure in those situations. We failed in those situations." You got to let that go and put some positivity in the practice situations so you can overcome those situations when they come up again.
Yeah, back to the roughing. I was definitely, ticked off about that call. But as you said, we were getting our butts whooped all game.
Yeah.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
I hate the Falcons decided to turn it on in the last quarter,
Hmm.
but again, they were trying to get another opportunity, to take the lead and win. But yeah, people got to get over. We didn't have the lead, so that penalty didn't technically rob us of the game. We robbed ourselves with the poor play we had for 3 quarters.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, they were killing us. I was looking at the stats because you were talking about the rushing. In my back replaying, I thought they had a lot of rushing yards, but it wasn't. It was just
It wasn't.
Fournette catching them out the backfield. He
Exactly.
was eating them alive. He
But
had
where was the
11
backers?
targets with 10 catches.
Where were the linebackers? Where were
Yeah.
they? And that's, and speaking of that, here it is. We can't allow Grady Jarrett to carry this defensive front all 4 quarters. Somebody has to step up. Some of these guys got to step up on the edge, or interior guys have to step up and take some of this pressure off of him. And when that happens, he's pushing the pocket up the middle. Where's everybody else coming from the edge? I don't.
Hmm.
We're not. We were so optimistic starting this year, and it's still early. We
Yeah.
only played 5 games. People, don't panic. But at this point, we need to see more, because you can't get too far behind in this league in under 500 and expect to make the playoffs.
Well,
Because as we know, no, late November, December, it gets the cream of the crop starts to rise,
mhm.
and those are right here stays here or just drops. So we got to get in that territory where we one of the creams of the crop, where we're gonna be sitting here going, okay, who are we gonna draft in first 10 picks of the draft?
Mhm.
And we can't. And people, that's not how you build your franchise of picking in the first 10 picks every year in the draft. That you know how much that's going to cost you in the next 3 to 5 years? No, I want to be drafting in the bottom tier, 28, 29, 30 to 32, because that means we're winning football games and we were in the playoffs. That's
Absolutely.
what I want.
Yeah. Also in that game, what they tend to, or what they seem like they were doing what they didn't do in the previous games, and that was targeting the tight ends. They were targeting the tight end left and right, Felipe Franks and the other guys. But when Pitts, he is out, and we'll talk about that. I think he's supposed to return this week, but he wasn't getting targets. But a guy that finally was getting his dues, Akiwas, man,
Yeah. Hey, he had 2 catches for 39 yards
and a
and a
touchdown.
touchdown.
Hmm.
Man, get the ball in his hands. He's a playmaker. Get the ball in his hands. You get the ball in his hands, you know what happens. On the outsides, you get man-to-man coverage, because now your safeties have to stay in tight, and
Hmm.
your linebackers can't get out of there quick enough, because if he's in a slot catching balls, shallow crosses, dig routes, over routes. Those interior defenders that's on the back end can't get outside to cover the double coverage, the outside guys. You have to get the ball to this young man. And I've been saying this for 2 years now. And if I look, I'm going to say it until I'm satisfied.
And the line, I know we were praising them. They gave up
Yeah.
5 sacks on Marcus this past week. It was it was a tough go all around. Like I said, if you watch that game, it was disappointing until the last
Right.
10 minutes of
Right.
the game. We
Right.
were talking back and forth about
Yeah.
the lack of energy, the lack of everything
Mhm.
that we saw on the team.
Well, and that's what happens with teams sometimes when you play the level opponents that you're supposed to be,
Hmm.
or you're kind of equal to, you come out with a lot of energy whatsoever. But when you play a team that you know that on paper and is better than you kind of come out flat sometimes, especially a young football team. You kind of come and pretty much a young coaching staff besides Dean Pease. You kind of come out flat a little bit until you realize, hey, they bleed just the way we bleed. They put their pants on the way we put our pants on. And then you start becoming a professional that you are, and you start playing at a high level. But you can't wait. You got it right away. You got it right away. You got to come out and play hard.
And then one thing I will say is that because we talked about it before, if this team could mount a comeback, so they show they could. I don't know if we need to test that theory out, much more often, but they were able to make a little comeback late in the game, considering
Mhm.
Mariota's hasn't been able to deep ball
Right.
pass.
Right. Well, I you know, if we play that well in the fourth quarters with a sense of urgency and we make a comeback, I would like to try something and come out and play with a sense of urgency right away. Let's go fast right now. Let's
Mhm,
go fast right now. Let's go fast because it seems like when you're just playing and not thinking
mhm.
and you got to make a play, they play better. It's not methodical. It's just organic and they just flowing and making plays and having a good time. But in those in the first half of games or second half of games, they get like uninterested. That's the best way to say it. And I think to spark their interest, let's go fast right now. Let's go fast right now and spread the ball around. Dink and dunk. If he's not gonna throw the ball deep, let's dink and dunk and move the ball, draw play, zone read, dink and dunk, draw play, toss, wide receiver screen, tight end screen, running back screen. Let's do those things and just go fast with it and keep the defense off balance. And then we march it down 75 yards and score.
Well, they're definitely going to need to start fast and continue with this next week opponent. They're taking on one of the top defenses in the league against the 49ers, who are they're 3-2, but they have lost to the Bears and the Broncos, which is kind
Yeah,
of a head scratcher. So
yeah.
I feel like the Falcons, it could be right for the pickings. We've got our own injuries, but they've got a lot of key injuries as well.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Here's the thing. You're about to face in 6 weeks the second best quarterback you're going to face, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mhm.
He's a really good quarterback, and you're about to face an offensive weapon that you haven't seen all year, but kind of like you already have on your roster, is a Debo Samuels.
Mhm.
And you better buckle your helmet and tighten up your shoulder pads because he's gonna be physical. This team is gonna be physical off the bat. They want to run the ball and be physical. They want to get the ball in Debo Samuel's hands and George Kittle's hands and make big plays down the field. That's what they want to do. Make big explosive plays downfield. Now, offensively, we got a chance.
Mhm.
You got let's see, you got Armstead, Kinlaw, and Bosa may be out. That's that front three. If we're gonna have to take advantage of that because now the pass rush is not gonna be as dynamic as it usually is, and you're gonna be able to run the ball. But the thing is, let's not fall in love with running the ball because you have three of the best defensive linemen in the league out, maybe out of the game. Let's not do that. Let's not fall in love with just handing the ball off.
Yeah.
Let's do something different. And here it is. Okay, for the life of me, and Bob Whitfield, who's been on this show plenty of times with us, he's coached with me before. I'm not a big component. I just don't like the play fakes and the zone read fakes and the RPOs because of the fact that when you stick the ball out, you have to read what's going on down the field.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you assess what's going on down the field, the ball has to come back up and get loaded to throw. You're always a tick off. Every time you're gonna be a tick off, unless you're throwing it deep. But every time you're gonna be a tick off. Ball here, you're reading. Oh, I see it now. I have to reload and get the ball out. In this league, it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. So this gonna have to happen quicker, or we're gonna just have to get it out of the pass game. This is too much. This is almost 50 to 60% of the pass game. It has to be more catch and loaded and ready to throw now, or offer that third step. Foot planted has to go now because these guys are too good in this league for you to be a tick off. I mean, even with the defensive lineman knowing that you're doing this, reloading, they can't get there, hands go up. DB has all the advantage if you holding that football because now the receiver's at the top of his route. He's run his route. The DB has recovered. It's late.
Mm.
So I hope at some point that gets better. That passing game gets better.
Yeah, and you were talking about those screens earlier. The safety, Hafanga from 49ers,
Oh,
Baby
yeah.
Palomalu has been
Oh,
studying those things, so they
oh,
better be on top of that because he will
oh.
jump the route.
Baby Palomalo is balling. And he's been training. That's just it's almost a carbon copy of the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
He comes off the edge. He flies around in the secondary. You better know where he is at all times, um, or he's going to be disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we have a chance. Here's the thing. It's funny because we talked about this maybe a couple of weeks ago when people were high on the Falcons and they kept and I kept saying, hey, they really haven't played anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been in that situation before. We went up to New England, beat New England, came back and beat the 49ers at home. I wish that would have happened. They would have went to Tampa, beat Tampa, come back home, beat the 49ers, and then you go off on an 11-game winning streak. We was, but well, maybe we go on a 10, 11-game winning streak after we beat the 49ers this year. Maybe history with lightning would strike twice.
Mm-hmm.
But here's an opportunity to beat a football team that is still trying to find out who they are, which is the
Exactly.
49ers. They had a plan with Trey Lance,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to scrap it. And now they got to go back to 2 years ago for when Garoppolo was their guy, and he was doing great things, took them to the Super Bowl whatsoever or NFC Championship. Um, and here's the chance for you to catch them where they're not where they want to be right now. And I think we have a chance to do it. And I'm gonna say this again: fans, show up and show out. And look, you do that. Watch this team play. Watch them play. Watch them play.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to show up and show out because the 49ers, that's a well-traveled, team. They've got fans all over the United States. So
Mm-hmm.
they are going to show up and then probably buy tickets. So it's imperative that you Falcon fans
Don't sell
actually.
your tickets to 49ers fans.
Correct, correct. And speaking of which, this Falcons 49ers, the Falcons have been winning since Shanahan's been out there. They did win last year when they slobber knocked Atlanta, but this will be the first time that Shanahan's playing a non-Dan Quinn team.
And that's funny because I thought about that. There's nobody left but Grady Jerry.
Oh
Pretty
yeah,
much.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So people don't, this team really don't remember much about the Shanahan era.
Correct. And my apologies. It was actually Arthur Smith who did lose that game last year. Well, he was the coach, excuse me. We lost
Right.
31-13. But yeah, since Shanahan's been there, the Falcons have kind of, you know, led that, I guess, series against him. But like you said, there's nobody left but Jake Matthews and Grady
Yeah.
Jarrett. So that would
Mhm.
even know
Here-
Shanahan.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Falcon fans, when Shanahan comes on that field, let him hear it the way you feel about what happened in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Let him hear it. Let him hear it. Do not throw that. Just keep saying, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Keep chanting, run the ball at him. Because if he would have ran that football, we won that football game. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to get greedy, we wanted to drop back and pass. Uh, we missed the edge rusher and we get sacked and we have to punt the ball. We run the ball, we kick the field goal, game over.
Yeah,
Case.
this is his first trip back. This is his
Yeah.
first game back. So yeah, the
Yeah.
fans let him hear it. If you're still mad, you still got it
Yeah.
inside of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's one of the architects to blame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the building.
Just keep chanting, run the ball, run the ball.
Hey,
That'd be
speaking of
that'd be cool. That'd be like a college atmosphere, dude.
oh yeah,
Imagine.
yes, taunting him with that.
I think that'd be the coolest thing ever if the fans get the fans to rally to do that. That
Mm.
would be so awesome. I mean, no, that would make my day. It would make my day, really. It
I'll
really
see if
would.
I can get it started in my area, but they'll
Yeah,
probably, I imagine some fans are like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah, yeah. But the the our followers that listen to us and watch us and all those things, spread the word.
Yes.
Spread the word. And let's see how it just trickles throughout the stands come Sunday. That's gonna be so cool.
Um, aside from the 49ers with some banged up players, like I said, Kyle Pitts, he did practice again today. It's been limited, but it looks like he should return this week. Michael Walker, he still looks like he's suffering from that groin. He hasn't been practicing, so it's going to probably be game time. But with those groins, I'm sure you could tell us that's
Yeah.
tough to
Well,
come back from. Right
kind
away.
of odd. He goes down with a growing and we trade Debo.
Yeah.
All in the same week,
Same week.
right?
Absolutely.
I wish him the best. He has a lot of football left in him. I want to thank him for the time he put in here with the Falcons. He was a class guy, played his tail off. I mean, made some remarkable plays for us over the years. So good luck to you, man, and God bless you in your future.
Yeah, Debo was one of my favorite defensive linebackers for the Atlanta Falcons, who made big play after big play, especially against those New
Yeah,
Orleans Saints.
yeah,
None bigger than those
yeah.
interceptions he got on Drew Brees. So
Yeah. We're talking about Deion Jones, not Debo Samuels. We're talking about
yes,
Deion
thank you.
Jones.
Yes, Deion Jones,
Yeah, yeah,
now former Falcon linebacker who's
and with
Browns.
Kyle Pitts returning, it's going to be interesting how we use him. It's going to be interesting if I'm just I'm just you know what I know what we're going to do in the run game. I know that's what we want to do, and but we have so many weapons in on the perimeter, and we're just not using them properly right now. I think Arthur Smith is could be creative enough to make sure he gets the ball in the playmaker's hands. That's what it comes down to when a game is on the line. You find your playmakers and you put the ball in their hands because your playmakers want the ball in their hands in crunch time. I mean, you got to get away from the game plan. You got to get away from the game plan. You got to get away from the game plan and just put it in your back pocket and call the play for Pitts, Zacchaeus, or London to make plays
Mm-hmm.
when they need to. I mean, you know your offense. You know the plays to call. You don't have to go to your call sheet. You don't. It don't matter what down and distance it is. Go to your playmaker. Don't look at your it's 3rd and 7. What do I want to call on 3rd and 7? It don't matter.
Yeah.
Find your playmaker and get him the football. You should it it's you should know. You know your offense. You know what to call. You know who's to get the ball to, get it to them and let them make plays. That's how NFL teams are winning with playmakers. I mean, the scheme is good. What you're doing is, I'm not knocking your scheme. The running game is beautiful. The short pass and intermediate game is good. But when it's time to make plays, you got to go away from that and get the ball in the playmaker's hands.
Hmm. I agree 100%. T, like you said, get in their hands. You don't take all these skill position guys in the top 10 picks
Right,
and not utilize them the way they should be.
right. I, before we end or about to end sometime, I want to discuss. You should see we're both on social media,
Hmm.
and we both listen to other shows whatsoever, and we listen to a lot of things. We listen to, I just want to hear the climate out there. I want to feel the climate out there about this Falcons team. And there's a consensus about this quarterback, Mariota. He can't get it done. It's time for Ritter whatsoever. And I said this: Mariota is doing exactly what Arthur Smith wants him to do.
Hmm.
Control this offense, keep it close, and have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. That's what this football team is right now. They want to keep it close, wear you down, and have a chance in the fourth quarter to win the football game. Now, if you replace Mariota and put Desmond Ritter in, now it goes away from his philosophy because now you have to throw the ball more.
Hmm.
You will have to throw the ball more because you have a pure passer back there. Now you're tempted. You're going, oh my God, I got to find a way for him to throw the football.
Hmm.
So it takes away from the philosophy of the offense right now. If Ritter is your quarterback, now you're talking about drop back passes, throwing the ball 30, 35 times a game, which this team does not want to do. They want to control the clock, pound you, wear you out, and have a chance in the fourth quarter. That's the philosophy. He could tell me it's wrong, but that's my thoughts.
Well, could they have Ritter do the same thing, the same philosophy, and then just use Ritter in those passing situations where he may not feel Mariota's
No,
comfortable?
because we're not going to be happy with that.
Mhm.
We're not going to be happy with that because you put Ritter in, you want to see
Let
the
him
ball flying
loose.
around down. Yeah, that's what you want to see. So we're not going to be happy with that. So as long as you at that, we're playing at that 500 mark and have a chance to get a couple of games over 500. Mariota is going to be your quarterback.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. What do you got for us in the show today?
Well, here's the thing, and I've said this before. Um, the other day I was thinking, and I was riding around, and I was thinking about my one of my sisters. My youngest sister. Pretty much I raised. She was my daughter, pretty much, and I was thinking about her, and I've watched her raise her children, and her marriage, and I had to let them know. And I have other sisters too. I let them know how I appreciate them and the women they become. Too many times we don't tell our women that are close to us how much we appreciate them and how much we love them. And then they're gone. Your mother, my mother. And then we're missing them. But my mother and your mother know how much we love them and appreciate them because we told them this constantly. So we're at a point as men, we have to get out of that macho role and say, I love you more.
Mhm.
I need you. I appreciate you. Without you, I can't survive. I'm not saying I'm talking about your wives and your
Mhm.
significant other. I'm not talking about, somebody you're dating, somebody that you really, really love, because I tell my wife all the time, without you, I don't know where I would be. You've made me a better man because she's a true woman of God and she's a true spiritual person and a prayerful person. And I told her, I said, without your prayers and your support, I don't know where I would be today. And I thank you and I thank God for you every single day. So tell them, put your arm around them and say, I thank God for you every single day. And because that's what God wants. That's what he wants. He wants you to show love as he showed love to you. And then you will get love back. I know there's arguments, there's fights, but at the end of it, you have to say, I love you, regardless of all this. Look, I'm gonna say this, but I'm saying it in love. It makes everything better. I told somebody the other day, happy wife, happy life. And it was funny because I was in a golf tournament and Cliff Levingston, former Chicago Bull, former Atlanta Hawk basketball player, he seen my wife we was at the function the night before. The next day he said, T, the wife looks happy. And it made me feel good because I said, I'm doing my job. And I thank God for allowing me to make my wife happy, to keep her happy. So say you love them and keep them happy.
Right on. Just like you
Yeah,
said, tomorrow's not promised. So make sure that you're doing that, everybody.
for sure.
Thank you as always. Make sure you subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Let us know what you think, everybody.